All right, so welcome everybody. This is the DC Caucus of Rank and File Educators training on the WTU elections. This is definitely meant to be kind of open, like I'm not the be all end all expert on all this. So certainly if you have information you want to share or experiences, definitely happy to hear them. And we are recording it and we'll eventually put it up on YouTube and probably use some of it in social media just to share bits and pieces of the information we're going over. And also looking for feedback on the kind of model or how we're doing it so that we can definitely meet everyone's needs. This is the first time we're going through this, so definitely open for feedback. All right. Oops, sorry. So part of just the question, is thinking about like why you might want to run or what you want to see and how you can be the change that you do wish to see. So as we'll talk about, change can come in a lot of different forms and a lot of different ways. And there's all sorts of different amounts of time that you could dedicate to the union and making a change in the union. That we'll see from all these different positions that are all really important in keeping our union active and our membership active. So a few things, I'll start with the norms. We just always assume best intentions. Feel free to type stack in the chat if you wish to speak. We're a small group, so you could also just come off mute, but stack will at least help me kind of know you'd like to talk. And then you could also just write comments or questions in the chat if you don't wish to unmute. What I'll be kind of going over and hopefully having a conversation about is general information, positions, the roles and responsibilities, timeline process and rules, and working with DC Core, if that's something you wish to do. So the first thing is you have to be, as in you have to be a member of the Washington Teachers Union to run and to vote. Cannot think you are, you have to know that you are, as I'm sure everyone in this space is aware, but just for those who aren't here right now, it's always good to check your pay stub. I have been part of campaigns and heard of people who something had happened, they had been a member and then they weren't. It's just good to check a pay stub and make sure that in the after-tax deductions, you have the DU/A of teachers local number 6, and you should see $36.08. If that is not there, you are not a member. Things happen, but then you got to make sure to fix it ASAP. The next really big thing, and the reason why we're doing this with DC Core, is because we really believe everyone's vote matters. And in the WTU, in the past election, turnout was very, 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 very low. We only received an email that said who won as members, but because I was a member of the executive board, I received a more in-depth report based on a elections complaint. And that was where I was able to find the actual result numbers that the AFT provided when responding to that complaint. And we can see that they said, and this is just cut and pasted directly from that report, 652 ballots were returned. And duplicates and ineligible ballots were removed. So that then led to the current slate that was elected with Elizabeth Davis receiving only 349 votes total. So that just means that you can make a difference by running and you can make a difference by voting, and that every vote really does count. One thing that you want to make sure to do is to check in with the WTU and make sure that they have your current mailing address, especially if you've moved in the past 3 years since the last election. I would go ahead and check. And you could email vkilby@w2local6.net and give her your current mailing address and ask her to update the database. And they have this at the bottom of every morning brew. So it is the process that they're using. So I would just suggest using it if for any reason you believe that the W-2 might not have your current mailing address. So the next thing I just wanted to quickly go over was just some terms that we might start using as we're thinking about like elections. And you may have seen if you read anything that the WTU Elections Committee has already sent out. In the Washington Teachers Union, groups of candidates can form what's known as a slate, meaning that they run together. So what this usually means is that at the top of the ballot, there'll be lots of columns, and at the top, there will be the name of the slate. It could be the Liz Davis slate, it could be the DC Core slate, it could be whatever you want to call it, slate. The important thing is every candidate who's running on that slate would put it in the nominations form, which we'll talk about. And it allows everyone to vote or run together. It's meant to make it simple for voters. They can just check the box at the top for the whole slate, and that means they voted for everyone on that slate. You can run as a full slate, which means every single position from president, executive board, board of trustees is full. You can also run a partial slate where it could be 2 people to maybe 50% or even more of the slate is full. And as a voter, you can vote for the whole slate, or you can actually pick candidates from different slates as long as you don't check any of the boxes at the top. You could vote for the president from one slate, vice president from another, treasurer from a third. Like you can mix and match as much as you want to your heart's content. Candidates can also just run as individuals, and they would kind of just be off. There's like usually slate, 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 and then kind of a column where the individuals show up. So that's just some terminology there.